Thank you. Hey, that was on Ruth, wasn't it? This is going to be a good audience. I know it's going to be a good audience. And perhaps even a great audience. It may even go into realms of, well, how shall I put it, a memorable audience. All right, folks. I know what you're interested in. You're interested in pure, unadulterated entertainment. Yes, indeed, you've come to the wrong place. We have some entertainment for you tonight, but it is adulterated, that is for sure. Stink-Foot, we've had a request for Stink-Foot. Ladies and gentlemen, we have never before played Stink-Foot for a live audience. That is the truth. This is going to be the world premiere on stage of Stink-Foot. Ah, wait a minute. Ah, but there's a catch to it. We don't know how to play it, but we're going to fix it up for you right now. Boy, you'd be sorry you asked for that song. Okay. In the dark, where all the beavers grow, under the water, where the shark bubbles blow. In the morning, by your radio, do the walls close in to suffocate you? You ain't got no friend, and all the others, they hate you. Does the life you've been leading gotta go? Well, let me straighten you out about a place I know. Get your shoes and socks on, people, it's right around the corner. Out through the night and the whispering breezes to the place where the imaginary diseases. Out through the night and the whispering breezes to the place where they keep the imaginary diseases. Now, you know, some people have the wrong idea about disease. And I figured this is as good a town as any to bring the subject up. The San Francisco area being the disease capital of the world. If there's one thing that has impressed me from time to time visiting the Bay Area, is that perhaps the most unpopular item of personal hygiene in this whole community would be the douche. I'd like to suggest that the douche become more popular in this area. We're going to try and popularize the douche here on stage tonight because I think the girls in this area could use the douche. Now, I have nothing against the girls in this area except that many times when I leave the area, it itches right in here. And I'm telling you, I'm saying simply this. The douche is where it's at. But there are other diseases. You have to understand that a disease, the word disease means, bring the band on down behind me, boys. The word disease means dis-ease. That means you're not at your easiest. That means for a while it's going to be a little bit tougher. Now, I'm sure you've heard the one that says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And that's why God brought disease to the planet Earth and also to the San Francisco Bay Area. Just to get you all going. A disease can be something useful. A little cheapo disease can get you over the hump when you need to smooth out a lump in some bumpy, funky, sociological situation. For instance, suppose somebody comes to your house and wants to borrow some money and eat a sandwich and you don't want him to.
Wow.
But you're so well-mannered because you're so laid back, because you're so cosmic, because you have a Santana album, that you don't want to, for some reason, you just don't want to hurt his feelings and tell him to fuck off. So what do? You say, I've got a headache. Or if you're Ruth, you go, oh, my cramps. But you can see that little small, cheap, inoffensive, inexpensive diseases can be functional in a contemporary society. And one of those diseases, an all-purpose disease, this is guaranteed to get rid of those unwanted people that hang around trying to mooch off of you and give you a bad time and spoil your karma and everything. And this disease, scientists call this disease bromidrosis. But us regular, highly evolved children of the Aquarian age. Good God, look at that man there. He's getting off beyond his wildest dreams. Stand up and get off. Hey! Yes, that's what we're here for, to titillate you. And now, bromidrosis is a scientific word for a phenomenon that many of us who are into the tennis shoe consciousness or the hip-length python boot with magenta sequins, even people who wear that sort of footgear can suffer from bromidrosis. And simply put, in its most common form, this disease is called Stink-Foot. Now, a lot of people have had trouble dealing with the phenomenon of Stink-Foot, but I will recite a rhyme, too, that may help in times of tribulation. You know, my python boot is too tight.
Wow.
I couldn't get it off last night. A week went by, and now it's July. I finally got it off, and my girlfriend cried. We got Stink-Foot. Stink-Foot, darling. Your Stink-Foot puts the hurts on my nose. Stink-Foot, I ain't lying. Can you rinse it off, do you suppose? Now, you know a commercial that's on television where the dog comes up to the guy sitting on the couch and he smells his foot and he goes like that? Well, you know, Marty Perellis is our road manager, and here's an instance where bromidrosis could have come in handy. This is very complicated. I mean, you know, I'll tell you what, I'll give you your choice right now. Do you want a version of Stink-Foot that's sort of like the record, or do you want the works? How many say sort of like the record? How many say the works? Because, you know, I don't sing very much, but I talk a lot, and sometimes I just go on for hours with this kind of thing, but I want to tell you in minute detail about how a cheap little disease like a reeking foot could have saved a person's evening. Let your mind drift back to the Holiday Inn in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, you have to understand that Memphis, Tennessee is a very fun place to be.
Wow.
There's a lot of action in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of how much action there is in Memphis, Tennessee, our road manager got laid in Memphis, Tennessee. When your road manager gets laid, you know you're in a good city. The only other thing that could indicate that you're in a good city is if the truck driver gets laid. And he might have that time. Well, anyway, we've been doing something in all of our shows across the southern part of the United States, which is where this tour has taken us. We have given a day-to-day report on the Booger Bear Follies. Now, the Booger Bear Follies is something that happens when you go out on the road. Let me explain this to you. You see, sometimes there are girls who like to go out with musicians, see? And sometimes they're really cool. And sometimes they're booger bears. A booger bear is a girl who looks like something from your nose. And with the best intentions in the world, it is possible, even though you try desperately to avoid it, to run into a whole string of boogers on a tour. Inside of our group, we have a regulation that works like this. Anybody who gets caught with a booger, if we find out in the morning that you had a booger in your room that night, you get the Booger Bear Award. Okay? Well, the Booger Bear Award is presented on stage the following night. So throughout the tour, every time something would happen one night, the next night when we would do a show, I would talk about it in the show, and it would keep building up. Well, this incident really started in St. Louis, where... Oh, I can't tell that part of it. Back to Memphis. Well, anyway, these boogers came from St. Louis. No, I can't. Listen. No. A happy marriage is at stake here somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, back to Memphis, Tennessee with Marty, and it doesn't matter if we squeal on Marty. All right, these boogers came all the way from St. Louis to Memphis, see? And not only did they show up in person, but they brought their dog. They brought a Great Dane about like this. And all of them wound up in Marty's room, along with some other people that Marty was more interested in. But it's hard on you, when you come face to face with two booger bears and a dog that could eat you alive in one gulp. And I'm telling you, that dog was that big. And they had it and would kill on command. Now, if Marty wouldn't use Beditas for a foot bath, he could have taken his shoe off and incapacitated the dog, thereby making it easy to dismiss the boogers from his room, which is just a graphic way of explaining to you that diseases can come in handy. That probably wasn't even worth it to go through that, but it's true. Well, anyway, this brings us up to the part on the record where it goes, here Fido, bring the slippers, arf, arf, arf. And then there's a horrible crashing noise. And then I say, sick. And then there's a guitar solo. Off the floor, and he rolled over and he looked me straight in the eye and he said, once upon a time, said to me, what is your conceptual continuity? And I said, well, you know, it should be easy to see. The crux of the biscuit are all those booger bears that we keep talking about every night, because without the booger bears in the audience, we wouldn't have any continuity during the tour. Well, you know, Fowler said, he looked up at her, and then he said, he looked up and he said, you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, you don't, you weren't, you hadn't, you mustn't, and etc. All of those words with a little in a corner of them. He said, the crux of the biscuit is the apostrophe. 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 However,